Former White House press secretary Kayleigh McEnany has a theory on why Jen Psaki always has to circle back during press conferences. Joe Biden continues to push division while saying he wants unity. Plus, an Andrew Cuomo accuser speaks out to CBS News. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. I hope you had a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with the White House and the press secretary. Former White House press secretary Kayleigh McEnany, who's now an analyst over at Fox News, has a theory. She was asked about current White House press secretary Jen Psaki and her famous go-to line. Like, what's going on with that? And you know Jen Psaki drives me nuts. She dodges and evades and just doesn't know the material at hand. Just on our last show, I talked about a simple question that was put to Jen Psaki. Joe Biden came out, gave a proclamation on Read Across America Day, an event that is celebrated on Dr. Seuss's birthday. Dr. Seuss has always been an integral part of this day. Joe Biden gives a proclamation, leaves him out entirely. So a media member, a so-called journalist, asked about it. Asked, why did Joe Biden leave out Dr. Seuss? Simple question. Psaki evaded. She dodged. So the follow-up was the same question. Why didn't Joe Biden mention Dr. Seuss? So in their second attempt, here's her response.
Well, again, I think it is important that children of all backgrounds see themselves in the children's books that they read. But I would point you to the Department of Education for any more details on the writing of the proclamation.
So just look at that. It's a complete dodge of the question. But folks, that is just the tip of the iceberg. Many times she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know the material. She refers these people to departments instead of answering the question. Or she has her famous go-to line.
It's a great question. I have not talked to our national security team about it. I would point you to the Department of Education for any more details on the writing of the proclamation. In terms of specific conversations, I'd refer you to the State Department. They would have more specifics. I would send you to DHS for any more specifics. I don't know yet if it will include specific recommendations. I don't know that I have more specifics to lay out. I don't have anything for you on it. I'm happy to check with our team on it. I'm happy to circle back with our team on that specific report. Circle back, circle back, circle back, circle back. I hate to disappoint conservative Twitter, but I am going to circle back.
Circle back. That's all she does is circle back. Well, why is this? All right, as far as dodging and evading, that's on Jen Psaki. That's just not wanting to answer the question and knowing in reality she doesn't have to. These so-called journalists that are asking the questions, we all know that those journalists and the White House, they're on the same team. So although they might be pushing a little bit, Jen Psaki is ultimately going to get a pass. But as far as not knowing the material, McEnany has a theory, and she thinks it comes down to Jen Psaki and the relationship with Psaki and her boss, Joe Biden.
We took great pains in our administration to do hours and hours and hours of research beforehand, days sometimes, calling Secretary Azar firsthand, calling Carrie Kupak over at the Justice Department to get answers. And the great thing about being in the Trump White House was I always knew where my boss stood.
All right, so a couple key points there. First of all, the hours and hours of preparation. Kayleigh McEnany put the hours in. She talked about what she did, knowing what's going on at State Department, at DOD, on the border. It doesn't matter what department it was. She was researching. She knew what was going on. And even McEnany had to refer reporters to other departments sometime, but it was not for a lack of knowledge. Jen Psaki just seems unprepared. The other thing that McEnany said that's so important was that she knew what President Trump was thinking. She was on the same page with her boss. They had that communication. Jen Psaki doesn't know what's going on because Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on. How can you inform the reporters when you are not getting the information from your boss? That is the thing. That relationship has to be there, and Biden has just checked out. Here's more from McEnany.
Unlike other press secretaries that maybe didn't have walk-in privileges to the Oval, I could walk in at any time. I always knew where he stood. Before every press conference, I would go in with a list of items that I thought the press would ask and go through one by one. I always knew where his head was at, so I didn't have to do a ton of circling back because President Trump gave a lot of access to me.
Yep, no circling back for Kayleigh McEnany. But here's the thing. Here's the question, and you can go into the comments. is what is going on over there at the White House with their press secretary, Jen Psaki. She dodges and evades, but as far as lack of knowledge, is that mostly her or is that Joe Biden? Is that her not doing her homework, not researching, or Joe Biden not knowing what's going on and getting the policies and the information to her? So, Jen Psaki, Joe Biden, let me know in the comments. All right, so next we're going to talk about the boss. We're going to talk about Joe Biden. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 150,000 subscribers, and we can do it with your help. All right, so now let's talk about Joe Biden, because as soon as he was declared the winner by the media and the establishment, they pushed for unity. Democrats, media, you name it, all those on the left. We need to unite. The country's been too divided. We need to come together. But we all know what that meant, or what it continues to mean. It means for conservatives to sit down and shut up. They don't care about unity, the left. They keep pushing division. While they're talking about unity, look at what's been going on. You have GOP senators and House members being told to resign. You've got Democrats that continue to push a divisive impeachment. You've got Joe Biden saying he wants unity, but any chance he gets to bring people together, he pushes them away. He blasts Trump supporters, never says anything about BLM or Antifa. On day one, he killed 1,000 jobs with one stroke of an executive order. That's Joe Biden. He's putting illegal aliens ahead of American citizens. He's doing everything he can to divide. So now when he holds a little Q&A in the Oval Office, it's not going to bring the country together when he calls people who want to end lockdowns a bunch of neanderthals. And that's exactly what Joe Biden did.
I think it's a big mistake. Look, I hope everybody's realized by now, these masks make a difference. We are on the cusp of being able to fundamentally change the nature of this disease because of the way in which we're able to get vaccines in people's arms. We've been able to move that all the way up to the end of May to have enough for every American, to get every adult American to get a shot. And the last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime, everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it.
All right, there's a lot to analyze, to unpack in that brief statement, but one thing is clear. When you call people a bunch of Neanderthals, that is not going to bring people together. That is not going to promote unity. It continues to divide, and that's what they continue to do. The other thing is Joe Biden tries to tie this Neanderthal thinking with thinking that everything is fine. Nobody is saying that everything is fine, but if you do what the Democrats want to do and follow the science, you'll know that coronavirus has a 99.9% survival rate. And of those who died, over 99% had not one, but more than one underlying condition. Those are just the facts. That's just the science. So we need to end the lockdowns. If you don't want to go out, you don't go out. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. That's fine. That's all good. But ultimately, it comes down to personal responsibility. And that is exactly what the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, said when he was announcing that Texas would be ending its lockdowns and its mask mandates.
Removing state mandates does not end personal responsibility or the importance of caring for your family members and caring for your friends and caring for others in your community. Personal vigilance to follow the safe standards is still needed to contain COVID. It's just that now state mandates are no longer needed.
So, ending lockdowns, ending mandates, personal responsibility. That's how America should run. That's how our Constitution demands that America run. But Joe Biden, nope, rather than bringing people together, he wants to push division. He wants to say things, call people names. It's like Hillary Clinton's deplorables, but this is Joe Biden's version. Here's a reaction from Kayleigh McEnany.
He was supposed to be the great uniter. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but this is what Democrats do to people who think differently than them. Tate Reeves was spot on. They call us deplorable over at CNN. They call us unintelligent rubes who can't point to countries on a map. This is what Democrats do to people who think differently.
And that's exactly right. That's what Democrats do. They call us names. They don't want unity. They attack, attack, attack. They call us names to diminish our argument rather than making an argument of their own. That's what Democrats do, and that's what Joe Biden continues to do, despite what he says. All right, so next, let's talk about what's going on with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, because things are getting worse and worse and worse. 3 women have come forward with accusations of sexual harassment. 3 of them. And this is in addition, this is on top of his ongoing controversy, this COVID nursing home cover-up that's currently under investigation. Well, one of those accusers, Charlotte Bennett, sat down with an extensive interview on CBS News. It's going to air fully today, but some of the clips were released, and here's the story. CBS News aired a Thursday evening preview of Bennett's interview with Norah O'Donnell, scheduled to broadcast in full on Friday. Bennett said several times she believed the governor had been propositioning her for sex. Bennett, 25, said Cuomo had begun by asking her a series of personal questions which made her deeply uncomfortable. Questions that delved into her past as a survivor of sexual assault and rape and pressed her openness to a relationship with an older man. Wow, this guy is unreal. And here's the thing, Charlotte Bennett has come forward with these details. Others have come forward with details. And this should send a shocking message to those Democrats who just want to ignore it and move on and hope it all goes away. And here's more. The questions began in the spring of 2020 as the height of the coronavirus pandemic was taking its toll on New York. Bennett told O'Donnell she believed the popularity Cuomo gained through his near daily press conferences gave him the sense that he was untouchable. Bennett detailed one instance when she said Cuomo directed her to stop recording their meeting. Cuomo proceeded to tell her he was lonely and looking for a girlfriend. He then allegedly told her he was open to a relationship with a woman as young as 22. All right, so by the way, Cuomo is 63 years old. This is just outrageous what's going on in New York. It continues to build. More information keeps coming out, both on this side and the COVID nursing home scandal. All of it is breaking. All of it's coming down. We'll see if Cuomo can survive. All right, so as far as today's show, we've got Joe Biden. We've got Jen Psaki. We've got Andrew Cuomo. We need to ask them, do you have a relaxed brain?
I got what you call, a relaxed brain.
Where to start? There's just so much relaxed brain going on. I mean, on one side, you've got Mr. Potato Head going gender neutral. You got Dr. Seuss being canceled. Now you have the conservative comic strip Mallard Fillmore. They're going after that. It's getting canceled. And here's the story. Bruce Tinsley, creator of the 27-year-old cartoon, said he was told this week by his syndication company that Gannett newspapers across the country simultaneously dropped the comic over 2 strips critical of President Biden and transgender participation in women's sports. It was a big shock, Mr. Tinsley told the Washington Times. From what I'm hearing, it was unprecedented. My syndicate has never seen anything like it. So, Mallard Fillmore is a political cartoon. It's a conservative political comic strip. That's what's going on. But these 2 comics, here's the comics that led to this canceling. The 2 comics ran February 19th and 20th. The first depicts Mr. Biden musing, "For too long, segregation sullied women's sports. They were restricted to women. Thank goodness those dark days are over." In the second cartoon, Mr. Biden says, "I hear what you, the American people, want me to do. Kill fossil fuel jobs, devalue Americans' labor, and help more transgender athletes beat the bleep out of biological females." Wow, that's Mallard Fillmore. Those were the comic strips that led to canceling. Folks, this is what political comics do. They bring up issues of the day and they blast them. They're sarcastic. This is what happens. Now, you can't say any of that. It gets you canceled. This is this guy's job, and he's losing his job because of those cartoons. All right, so next let's talk about Jamal Bowman, who is the latest member of the squad. He's a guy. He's on the squad with AOC and Rashida Tlaib. He tweeted this: "Standardized testing is a pillar of systemic racism." Oh my gosh, everything is racist to these folks. Every single thing. Now standardized testing? Well, thankfully, there's a lot of people smarter than Bowman on social media, and they blasted him because standardized testing is not some kind of American white supremacy invention. It's been used in China for thousands of years, and they let him know it. Next, we have Seth John, who is a member of the U.S. soccer team. He's also a member of the U.S. Soccer's Federation's Council, right? They have a council of athletes. He was kicked off the council. And why? Because he supports standing for the national anthem. They had a vote to again allow athletes representing the United States to kneel for the national anthem. He said no, and here's where he made his big mistake. He gave this passionate speech, and he quoted facts. He used statistics. He used actual data about inner city violence, police violence, who's actually dying, who's actually doing the killing. He presented them with facts. He was kicked off the Federation's council. And in the statement, they said, you can't use language like that. You can't speak out. It's absolutely outrageous. This guy supports standing for the national anthem. He was kicked off the council. And here's the thing. If anyone kneels representing the United States, they should be gone. Because if you're on one of the national teams, it is not about you. It is not about your politics. It's about your country. You love it, you honor it, you respect it, or you get off the team. That's what's going on. Folks, that's our show for today. Don't forget, tomorrow's our Saturday live stream. Tune in at 11 a.m. Central Time. We're going to have a great discussion, more issues. I'll take your Q&A. It'll be a lot of fun. But until then, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. And we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-Minute News Hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.